calling all misfits, rebels, leaders, and teachers, welcome to the one place where the only way to fit in is by standing out, where big goals are met with even bigger action, and where we talk through then tackle all things entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kelsey Knudsen, and this is the Get Shit Done podcast. Welcome to the Revolution. Today you're stuck with me. We had big ambitious plans of having an awesome guest on, but the internet had other ideas, so here we are. Let me jump into the topic. We're going to talk about this crazy event I'm collaborating on, but more importantly, I'm going to share the story of how this opportunity came to be. My hope is that maybe you get some valuable lessons along the way. And yeah, without further ado, here's the story of PNW Live and how I got involved with it. And if we're going to be real, why you should be involved with it too. So long story short, I was supposed to have Mandy Shell on. She is the founder of PNW Women's Network. It's a community in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle-ish region. She goes all the way down to Olympia, all the way up to Seattle. But what she's really known for is this big women's conference she puts on annually. It usually happens in the new year in Puyallup, which is my hometown. She started this idea. At this point, it was an idea in 2022. And at that time, for those that don't know, I am a business coach, but I also run a community called Empower PNW with two of my best friends. Our community had existed for about a year at this time. Mandy has this idea. We don't know each other at this point. She creates an Instagram for this event that she decides she's going to host and doesn't really do much more than that. She finds this event in Arizona to get kind of re-inspired in her career and her life. And I end up at the exact same event. She planned hers for months. I planned mine for 6 days, which is not like me. I get connected to her Instagram account. I didn't have quite a face to the name at that point. I'm getting out of my Uber. I'm in Arizona for this conference where I know nobody. The person I know, I've never met in person, and we're staying in a room together. Don't worry, it worked out. She's also become a dear friend of mine. I'm getting out of my Uber. I'm waiting for this person I don't really know, and Mandy's yelling for me behind me. And I'm like, who are you? Come to find, she's the face behind the Instagram that had recently followed me. We spent the weekend together, and I learned more about her heart, her intention in this event she had been wanting to put on. We're sitting there poolside in Arizona, beautiful resort, amazing event. And we're like, why the heck doesn't this exist in our state? Like, where is this? Where is this event that is curated, that's beautiful, that's inspiring and motivating, but also really fosters growth and learning and connection? Like, why don't we have that? And Mandy had already decided, at least from my vantage point, I think she had already decided that she was going to take on this project of putting this event together. And so she was there just being a sponge, absorbing the event, making connections and planning, scheming, all of that stuff. So she flew back after that experience. Now we had met. I knew in meeting her instantly, I knew somehow I needed to be a part of this event. Not for ego reasons, not to just put my name out there or anything. I didn't even know how, but I believed so wholeheartedly in what she was doing that it needed to exist that I was like, any way I can help, just let me know. So after our meet cute in Arizona, we reconnect in Washington State, and I end up becoming the host of the first ever Pacific Northwest Women's Live, which was in 2023. Sorry, time's weird. 2023. The event was great. I don't remember the exact head count from my vantage point. I want to say it was like 155, maybe 200 women. And transparently, I had never hosted something like that before, but I knew I could figure it out. I did it. I left on cloud nine. It was such an awesome experience and feeling. And I think the coolest part was just the continued connections and collaborations and ahas that people were having in the community after that event, that it was very clear this event was here to stay. So year one, I think for Mandy and from my vantage point, was just like doing the thing. It was her thing. She had a couple of friends that helped put it on with her. I was just there providing some vibes and advice when I could and when that made sense. And from there, it was like, I think this is a thing. And I think we got to go for a second year. So in year two, Mandy ran with this thing by herself. And transparently at the time, I was also business coaching her a little bit, trying to help with some systems and just some structure, because, you know, that's the stuff I love. But all that to say, year one, I'm hosting. Year two, I end up becoming one of the keynote speakers, which I was so honored to do and I loved doing. But she truly put that event on by herself. Year two was in a new place. It was 250 women, so more people. And she really elevated the experience. But I watched as it was just a lot. Like, y'all, I'm hosting Thanksgiving for 50 people, 43 technically, on Friday. And as I'm recording this, it's like in 2 days. Maybe that's why the internet was like, you need to calm down and just focus on that. But all that to say, I can't even wrap my brain around hosting that many people. So for her to put on an event for 250 women, just it's a tall ask and it's a lot for one person to do. And the event happened. It was amazing. My keynote, like I felt like for me, that was a huge confidence moment. I don't know. I'm sure there's people who were in that room that were like, that was the best version of you I've ever seen. I'm sure there were people in the room who were like, well, I know because people have said given feedback too. Like, you know, I know everything that you said. Literally, someone didn't say that. But the point being, it wasn't even about validation for other people. It was validation for myself that I could like show up with that level of confidence and clarity and deliver a message to that many people and ultimately like help some people out. So for me personally, my personal relationship with PNW Women's Network live, it was really, really special in that moment for me. And I always known that somehow I would always cheerlead or be a part of or help Mandy with this thing because I just believe wholeheartedly in her mission and what she's doing. And what happened after year two is total burnout. I mean, I remember Mandy just like crumbled and she is a strong person. She's one of the strongest people that I know. But I totally as a friend just saw her just totally shut down. And I like I said, big event, I understand why. But all that to say, I remember having a coffee and at one point she was like, I don't think I have it in me. I don't think I can do year three. I can't even fathom what that would be like right now. And I was like, you're right. That's totally understandable. You need to do what's best for you. And just know this event is really amazing. And you're probably going to have people who really want you to do it. But ultimately, you have to take care of yourself first. I leave that meeting and I have an empower meeting with my co founders, Michelle and Taryn. I tell them the news and I'm just like, yeah, just so you know, live probably isn't happening. And they had gone to year two and saw how powerful it was. And I believe it was Taryn, but both of them was like, screw that. No, absolutely not. We are going to help her, whatever it takes. I was just so, I shouldn't be surprised, but like so surprised by their heart and like their desire to help that it was just really cool to see because transparently, if I'm going to be real honest, which is the whole point of this story today, I'm not an event person. I'm not a coordinator. That is not my best skill set. And I knew where Mandy needed support was in those things. And it didn't feel right for me to just volunteer my friends who are both fantastic at those things. So that's why in my brain, year three, it was a 2 year ride. We left with a high. We're just gonna be done. But with my amazing co-founders, they were like, no, we are gonna do year three. And we're gonna make it the best it's ever been. We're gonna help her in any way. And that is how the partnership between Empower PNW and PNW Women's Network came to be. It is magical to see just everyone shine in their zone of genius and really elevate this whole thing. I fired myself as a keynote at 2022. I looked around the room and the level of entrepreneur sitting in the audience, and I was like, there are people who are further down the journey than me, who are thought leaders, who are fantastic speakers that I need to step aside to create room for these people. The lineup that we have curated for 2025 are all people I would pay money to listen to. And I just have to plug them real quick because I am so incredibly honored that they said yes to this. We have two people flying in from other states who believe so much in our mission and what we're doing that I'm just excited to share them with you. And I think that on the surface, it may look like we're just kind of willy nilly picking people, but there was an incredible amount of intention that went into curating these speakers and really elevating the experience, not only to have it be really beautiful and connection obsessed, but also tactical. I think a big thing that's really interesting with this event is people want to leave with knowledge. They want to leave with game plans and strategy. And it's kind of interesting because a friend of mine, we had recently gone to another conference that was ran by a couple guys, I think, actually. And that was all about like vulnerability and being open and like sharing your feelings. And it's how interesting that the man's conference is about openness and vulnerability, but this female founder conference is all about tactics, strategies, KPIs, and money. And yes, the connection and all of that stuff is still a byproduct of bringing people together. But I just think that part of it is so funny and just not what you would expect. So I just wanted to share that with you because you may be just scrolling Instagram and you may be coming to your own conclusions of what you think this event is and what we're trying to do. And I just want you to know there was so much heart and intention put into who is speaking, who is hosting, which, by the way, I'm hosting again. I am so excited to help curate conversation, foster that deeper action of like, okay, you leave that event inspired. Now, what are you doing? What does that action plan look like? What changes today? I am so excited to help facilitate that. And I'm honored to have the people speaking that we have speaking and the different added benefits that we're bringing to the mix for the third year. I just think that if I were to like summarize this whole experience, it's that this would never have happened had I not said yes to that event in 2022 with 6 days notice. I had every reason in my mind to say no. If I'm fully honest and transparent, money was tight at that time. I couldn't afford to go to this event. I mean, I made it work, but money was tight. Business was struggling. Things were hard. And I said yes. And I put myself in an uncomfortable position that totally paid off beyond just the connection to Mandy, beyond PNW Live. So many other beautiful things happened because of that yes at that one event. And I hope that you realize that maybe there's something you need to say yes to because you have no idea what lies on the other side of that unknown. And for me, this event has completely changed my life. Yes, I've gotten clients from it. I've had clients reach out a year after, like, hey, I met you at this event a year ago. I remember what you said. Since then, I've been listening to your podcast. I follow you on Instagram, and I think I'd love to have you be my coach. Like, what a complete honor and what a testament to the power of that one event. I think we forget how far connection goes. I think we forget the power of community and in-person community and putting yourself out there. And there's so many moments, I can't even like stress this enough. There's so many moments where I look at my life and I look at my business and I feel like no one cares. Like if there's times I record stuff like this and y'all with the technical issues of today, it took everything in me to pivot and record this solo episode, but I feel so strongly in what needs to be said that I'm committed to providing this for you. But there's so many times I'm sitting here, I'm recording, I'm dealing with all the tech, I'm dealing with my microphone not working or whatever. I picture that no one cares, like no one's listening. And I cannot stress to you enough that the work you're doing, the way you're showing up, it matters. And even if it feels like no one is paying attention, they are. You are changing lives. You are making a difference. If you have a business and you are showing up and you're sharing your product or service or your knowledge or your inspiration, your motivation, whatever, you are making a difference, whether you see that fruit of that yet or not. You will. So, all that to say, if you've been on the fence of coming to live and you're local to the area or able to come in, I have friends flying in from Arizona for this thing. If you're able to make it, I highly recommend saying yes and saying yes soon because I'm going to continue to talk about how amazing this event is. I'm going to continue telling people about it. And we only have the VIP and gold sponsorship spots left. And that's it. We have a capacity issue. We cannot like magically add more tickets. That is it. But all that to say, I just wanted to really extend that invitation to you and give you some more context of how this whole thing came to be. I think the why behind stuff matters. I'll be honest too, this event is not cheap to put on. It's expensive to put on an event of this size at the caliber we want with all the design elements we are adding, with all of the media that we will capture and help showcase the value of this amazing thing. The swag bags, everything has expense tied to it. It's a horrible business model. If you were listening to this and you're like, oh, how do I make $1 million? Maybe I'll just throw a big live event. We aren't taking that home. We are not netting millions of dollars. It is not a ideal business model for the amount of work versus return. That return is going back into putting this amazing event on for all of you. So you just need to know that our heart is in it. And we really just believe in this. We believe in this community. And I think the best thing is watching everyone just continue to grow and evolve and really like launch from this live event that happens every year. So if you're listening, it's happening February 1st, 2025. I would love to see you there. I'd love to see you as a part of it. And also just know that so much time, intention, and thought went into finding these experts. A lot of them have had hard lives, difficulty. Like I can't even fathom some of their stories, but they're going to share them vulnerably, and they've done amazing things. These are people I look up to. One of them specifically, when I grow up, I want to be like her. Like I have so much respect and so much to learn from this person. So all that to say, we have a fire list of people who are sharing their knowledge, their experience. They've walked the walk. They've built it from nothing. They've risen from the ashes. And I think that story needs to be told more. So that's the vibe for live. Our mantra this year is high vibes, higher standards. And we really are practicing that in everything that we are doing for the event. If you have any questions around the event, feel free to DM me. I'm happy to answer them. I give my stamp of approval. I think this is a really special thing. I'm honored to be hosting again, and I chose that. I think that's the best way I can serve and be a part of it and provide some energy and some, I don't know, facilitation too. So I'm fired up about it. But again, come to live. And if you can't come to live, say yes to something. Even if it's not us, I encourage you to say yes to something, because I think that all of us need that reminder that magic can happen on the other side of the unknown. So thank you so much for joining me in this special episode. Do me a huge favor too and go follow Mandy's community. It's Pacific Northwest Women's Network. We'll have her Instagram linked in the show notes. And definitely check out our event. We would love to have you there. We've sold out every year. Would love to sell out again this year. And just can't wait to continue to grow together, because that's what this whole thing's about. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you at the next episode. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Get Shit Done Revolution. My hope is this episode sparked a fire in you, equipped you with some practical next steps, or inspired you to take action towards your goals. If it did, please help spread the word by sharing this episode or leaving a review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in. Now it's time for me to hand over the keys and let you get shit done.